I don't know you. What's your name? Nice to see you.
But you did really great today. What's it like?
Oh man, that was a great win. It wasn't what you draw up or anything like that, but this league it rarely is, and it's tough sledding, and it was just a great win to be able to get that.
Son was just saying that you were pretty emotional afterwards. He thought it was tied to your return here to a certain extent. Kind of what are you feeling now that it's over?
Yeah, I'm emotional because I love Frank Reich. I really do, and he's one of the best damn football coaches I've ever been around. So, yeah. I was hoping that him and I would be able to coach against each other in this game, but he's one of my biggest mentors. I got my dad, I got Larry Karras, and I got Frank Reich, and Frank's such a good football coach. And you don't want to know what I think of if he should be here or not, but because you guys can probably imagine what I really think. I love him, and so I got a little bit emotional about that, and it was good to see the guys that I really cared about and some of the things that, Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly and Paris Campbell, I got to talk to them after the game, and Kenny Moore. That means a lot when they say some things that are, obviously I keep those things to myself, but spent a lot of time here. My kids, one of my children was born here, and it was sweet to come here, especially with what happened in this organization the last couple of weeks, and get the win. The win. We live in Indianapolis with a win.
And despite the win, there were some struggles early on.
Whew. You ain't kidding, Jeff.
Some of the decisions, I'm just wondering. So you had 3 timeouts. You went to the half with.
I didn't feel great about how we were moving it, and we had to slightly beginning of a 2-minute right there. I didn't want to help them out because they had. I just didn't want to help them out anymore with the timeouts, and I hey, if we lost that game and I didn't do it, I probably would have said, hey, I shouldn't have done that. Hey, we won, and I felt good about the decision right then. Not because, I have faith in our offense to be able to do that. I just didn't want to help them out to be able to go down and score a touchdown and try to make them kick a field goal there because they lacked timeouts. But our defense was doing a good job at that time. You go back and forth with that. That's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to go back and forth with that decision. Like, was it the right, was it the wrong one? But shoot. I gotta stick with my I don't want to say gut. I got to stick with my conviction when I make a decision and live with it. Not always are they going to be right.
In the 4th and 10 from the 39, you passed up to 37.
Yeah, with where we were right now, it's about did I feel great about kicking that right there? I didn't, and I wanted to see if we could get the first down right there, and we didn't. And man, I can't say enough good things about Gus Bradley and his defense and the way that guy always gets his players to play for him. Always. Gus always gets his players. I was with him in San Diego, as you guys know, and he always gets his players to play for him. And they always have, they always do a good job on defense. So they stopped us there. And again, I have to stick with the decision I made. Hindsight, do I kick it? Yeah, maybe it didn't work for this one.
Is it fair to say you simplified things offensively in the second half?
Yeah, we got to what we felt was working at the time. It still wasn't easy, as you guys saw, right? I mean, they came out and they had a strip sack fumble and got the ball back. That number 91, there's been a lot of battles with him. He's a good football player, in this stadium when he was with Jacksonville. Then he's found his way to Minnesota, and he was here again. Like we've had a lot of nights worrying about him, but I love our tackles, and it wasn't on our tackle. It ended up being on the back, and but he's a good football player. He made a good play right there. But, yeah, good job by Shane calling it in the second half, stopped making some adjustments, all the guys making adjustments, and defense allowed us time to be able to do that.
The final drive, take us through that and then the play calling process and also the timeout after the 2-minute warning call.
Yeah, there's a little bit of strategy to that timeout after the 2-minute call that I'd rather not get into for reasons just so our opponents don't know, obviously. But, that was a big time drive. Miles Sanders looked at me and said, "Hey, I'm on the teach tape," because when we talk about if you're behind the defense, right? If you're behind the defense and you're running and the ball's a little underthrown because Jalen had to really heave it, that plant your right foot in the ground and come back to and kind of make sure that you're either coming back to the football, jumping through the football, and he did exactly that. And like you don't think that Miles is gonna be on the go route off of a scramble on that, like because these conversations are happening, and that's why, I love the process because the running backs and the receivers and the tight ends and the quarterbacks are all sitting in together with the pass installs and the pass meetings, and there's always in my head like, hey, should we let the backs go here? This doesn't. But shoot, it worked out for us today that he soaked up a coaching point and played it to perfection, right? If we can give all the coaching points we want, but like these players are the ones that got to go out there and execute it. And so he said to me a couple times after the game, he's like, "I make the teach tape." I said, "You're damn right, you made the teach tape." Forevermore we'll be able to show Miles Sanders how to play a deep ball if it's underthrown, because you got to try to put your guys in every position like that. But Miles, man, he went up and that was a huge play. I'm talking a lot, I know. Go ahead.
I hate to interrupt, but you really leaned on Hurts there on that last try, that 4th and 2 quarterback draw, and then the thing just opens up wide on the 3rd and 7 there, 3rd and goal. Was there something you saw on calling that play?
Yeah, obviously you go through the process all week and figure out what they're doing, and not only in the red zone, in the tight red zone, in the low red zone, in the high red zone, and 2-minute, what their got-to-have-it calls are, where they're going to play. You try to put yourself in every single position you possibly can. And so, and then you put the ball in your players' hands that you trust to make the plays at that time. I think you keep seeing it that like when we need a drive, when we need some points, when we need, you can always lean on our offensive line, right? You can always lean on him. And then Jalen's special with the ball in his hands, and he made, man, that thing opened up. I was looking at the play. And then I kind of looked over at Kevin, and Kevin Petullo was going crazy, and because I kind of put my head down just for a second with what happened on that, and then he executed and we scored, and it was pretty sweet. But we knew we had to get a stop, and man, those defensive ends earn the right to pass rush in that scenario, and we got a great pass rush and we got a great defense. I'm just, as you guys see, I'm excited about this one.
What do you think of the run defense, especially coming off of all the criticism they had throughout this week?
Yeah, it's not as we all know. Sometimes I feel like we don't all know this, that it's not indicative of just one game of who you are, right? There's the defensive coaches did an unbelievable job. The defensive players did an unbelievable job, and I've been in the stadium when those offensive linemen over there, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, have taken over a game, and because that's a good offensive line. Jonathan Taylor's a good back, and there was not much there, and there was not much there at all. So it was awesome, right? It was awesome. I'll be interested to see what the narrative is. I don't know if it will be like, they're still 31st in yards per attempt. I'm not sure we are anymore. And obviously Linval and did a great job, and it was awesome to see him come in and get reps. When he comes off the field excited, I get excited, and so I love that juice. And Sue did a good job. Those, Tracy Rocker, our defensive line coach, to get those guys ready to play in that short amount of time is a tribute to Coach Rocker and a tribute to Sue and a tribute to Linval that they were able to do it. And that's, and obviously so appreciative to Howie and his staff for getting those guys in here. And they went out there and they just played. I can't wait to see what their grades were. I'm imagining they were pretty good. But yeah, when they come off the field, that's exciting.
Last one, guys. Like this important for a team to build toughness.
Yeah, I think so. Any win, you take it any way you can get it in this league, especially on the road. We clawed, we scratched, we fought, and we kept going, and we were winning it, and we won at the end. And so I think anytime your back's against the wall, right, and you respond, at all levels, offense, defense, special teams, yeah, it feels pretty sweet, and it builds, right? And you can build from anything, right? I think there was a great Kobe Bryant. He would always talk about, how his process after a game and how you could build on everything, and that's just, he was awesome, and you can build on everything. You would rather build off of a win, but when your back's against the wall like our guys were today, and and you fight and claw and scratch, anything you got to do to win that game, that's pretty sweet, and that brings those guys closer and closer. Hey, I'd love to win by more than that, obviously, but we had our back against the wall, and we came out swinging, and we got the win.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Good question. I appreciate you setting me up.